Traditional foes in a real rivalry match. Carlton on the verge of the 8th, stirred by last Sunday's amazing final quarter. Collingwood with 4 wins in a row, a game outside the 4. At last, both Pies and Blues in the finals hunt. And around the home of football today, there's a whiff of September.
Sunday afternoon football continues here on 7 with the blockbuster from the MCG, Carlton and Collingwood. Old rivals, and the MCG is nearly full. As we join Bruce McAvaney, he's with former Carlton captain and South Australian champ, Stephen Kernahan.
As we welcome you to the MCG, a terrific crowd here, and I'm with Stephen Kernahan, who joins us. 6, you've just come from the rooms. I bet you're feeling good today, mate.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to go, Bruce. Carlton, Collingwood, 80,000. Just watched the tape down there of a few old games, and some current stuff was really good.
You played in so many of those matches with crowds over 80,000. That brings back those memories, I guess.
Seems a long time ago, Bruce, but when you see this, and we've got a chance to make the 8 if we win today, it's getting back to some good days for us.
Great to have Judd leading a team out on a day like today with the experience he's had at the MCG in big matches.
He's terrific, and obviously we haven't got a lot of blokes with finals experience, and to have him a premiership captain leading the way and in good form is terrific for our blokes.
In 6 weeks, I thought you beat them last time was in the midfield. I mean, is that an area you feel you may have an edge again today?
Well, obviously, they've got a pretty good midfield themselves. I think we got them a bit off last time we played, and we were on, and they had a bit of an average day in our midfield. That's where our strength is. We've got blokes rotating through there, and the kids are getting better. Murphy and Gibbs are getting more time and getting better.
They're still yelling your name out the cheer squad. 6, good luck today. All the best, mate.
Good on you, Bruce.
Up to you, Dennis.
Yeah, good on you, Bruce. I'm with Tim Watson, and Tim, what a great opportunity. Sticks touched on it there. Win today, and they're in the top 8.
Yes, and they get due recognition in the competition too. This has got a big game feel about it, Dennis.
Magpies coming onto the ground now. They're on a roll. And Shane Wakelin, game number 150 in the boots, if you don't mind, after 94 with the Saints. Collingwood have won their last 4, but they dropped their last game on this ground against Carlton this season. So pride very much on the line. These two clubs, I think it's fair to say, don't like each other very much. Overcast day in Melbourne, chance of a shower, and a very big crowd. Just a couple of changes for Collingwood. Pendlebury is back.
Yes, and that's a great inclusion for Collingwood. 4 players highlighted there. They are star-type players. They have star qualities. Each of them have individual brilliance. Didak, I think we are seeing the best Alan Didak we've ever seen, but this bloke too, I think his game has been reinvented since Mick Malthouse decided about a month ago when they played St Kilda on this particular night at the Telstra Dome that he would man up Del Santo. He had been a sitting duck, he'd been targeted, he'd been tagged himself. They decided to go head-to-head with Del Santo. It pushed him up into the midfield. He found more of the ball that night than he had any other game he'd played, and his career has just gone on from there.
And there's the skipper, Scotty Burns, coming off a career-high 36 possessions last Monday. His battle inside with Chris Judd should be something.
Have a look at that table there. Chris Judd leads his side in contested possessions, also hard ball gets. And he needs some assistance, Dennis. We all know how great Chris Judd is, but at the moment, he's doing all that hard, inside bullocking type work. What Carlton need to do is they need to find the right formula. They need to get the right mix. He needs somebody who's capable of getting in there, giving him the chop out. The best Chris Judd will ever see is a Chris Judd who's on the end of it, who's running through the midfield and creating and able to pinpoint his targets.
Well, fair to say right now they don't have that type of player.
No, they don't, but I think they've just got to look at, say, maybe Carazzo can be that type of player, or maybe even Bentic can do more of that bullocking type work. Those players highlighted there are their first-round draft picks. And that means, as Mick Malthouse made the point of during the week, that this side should be starting to get better too.
And Nathan Buckley, the great champion of Collingwood, doing a lap of honour. What a week it's been for Bucks with his tribute night on Wednesday night. His young son Jet with him. A wonderful occasion for the club and for their greatest player. And a short time ago, he spoke with Ricky.
Thanks, guys. Well, Bucks, must be a pretty big thrill to have a lap of honour in front of such a big crowd.
It was, mate. I got a little bit emotional at the start there, mate. Leave that. I got a little bit emotional. It was great to see, that big a crowd, and everyone was standing up and clapping. It was a special little moment for me.
And even the Carlton fans gave you a cheer as well?
Yeah, I got one guy who gave me a bit of curry, but 1 out of 80-odd thousand is pretty good.
They're in ripping nick at the moment. There's no chance you'll do a Timmy Watson and have a year off and come back next year?
No, mate, the Achilles is a bit sore, so I'm under no illusions. My time was up, and the young fellas will do the job now.
Well, it's always a big clash, Carlton and Collingwood. Both finals contenders this year, so it makes it even more of a moment for you. Who's going to win today and why?
Oh, look, I think Collingwood are best place to win. It's just a matter of matching the intensity of Carlton that they'll bring. I mean, they're big games, and it's a big opportunity for everyone that plays in them.
Thanks, Mark. Congratulations on a great career.
Cheers, Ola.
Terrific stuff, and his great mate Scotty Burns, who played more games than anyone else with Bucks.
Chris, it'll be your call. Big. That's it. That'll do. Tails called. Tails it is.
So
Okay,
Chris Judd wins the toss and kicks to the left. Nathan played 24 games against the Blues in his illustrious career. So what an occasion, Dennis and Tim. I mean, a great crowd have just come down from there. Stephen Kernahan, apparently Sticks gave the Carlton players a rousing rev up before he came out onto the ground, but we couldn't repeat any of it, Tim.
Well, it's that great rivalry, isn't it? And we probably haven't seen that in more recent years because Carlton have been down the wrong end of the table. But now as they begin to rise, and I made that point pre-game, Mick Moldhouse talking about the fact, well, they should be too. They should be improving. They've been down there that long. They've had so many early draft picks, and they've been able to assemble some fine talent, which is now starting to really blossom.
And Ricky got some conflicting information about what's going to happen with Judd today. Double teaming, there was a thought, including Thomas on him, and yet another thought that he'd be just manned up one-on-one. We'll see in a moment.
Well, he came back to Melbourne to play in big games. He's got one this afternoon. Collingwood looking for revenge.
Big change at the other end too. Harry O'Brien took Favola last time. The youngster Nathan Brown has gone to him this time.
Kind of a game without that beforehand. Means nothing. Scotland could have been taken high. Bryan went through but left the football behind. Murphy in very good form, goes inside the forward 50. Favola had a haircut this week. He's deep in the pocket, pulls it back and kicks it behind.
That's a really disappointing effort from him. He should have kicked that one to the top of the square. That really wasn't the haircut's okay. I like the short back and sides. That was just the adrenaline rush in the early part of the game, just feeling the crowd.
He's given Collingwood the short back and sides in the last couple of times he's played against him, hasn't he?
Look out.
So
he was slow on the whistle there, the umpire.
Yeah, so
a great tackle there by Betts. That's what he does.
Against the ex-blue in Bryan. Now Betts, oh, that's a poor kick. It was touched. So Didak's second disposal, Medhurst up the ground. One of the players that Tim and Dennis featured prior to the match. Good kick off the boot. Swan. Geez, numbers in the last 3 weeks have been even more impressive than usual. Didak again, so third disposal for him. Cloak up the ground, goes with a cloak on the end of this, I should say. Now still with him, and then hooking back. It was touched off the boot. It's in the goal square. Ben Johnson is play on. Can't quite get it out. Lockyer tackled. Terrific stuff by the Blues. O'Brien, ball up.
Touched off the boot.
So Reid into Cloak it was, and terrific contest by Carlton to hold it up.
Bounce on the kick-off line then. Came back to Cloak. On his knees, Thornton dug it out of there. White, like a basketballer, had a dribble through half-back. Stevens towards midfield. Pitches in front of the leading man coming up the ground. Favola did well. Betts inside the forward 50. Low down, cruiser, missed it. Arriving quickly, Murphy locks it up with Wakeland. And the umpire will bounce it down. Umpire number 4, Luke Farmer, a rising star, getting a big game this afternoon. And there's the trio, the firm of Farmer, Schmidt and Kennedy. Schmitten. Opportunity for Shaw. In fact, a couple of them. Reece Shaw kicks it up short of the wing. Carrazzo gets in front, takes the mark, feeds it off. Armfield, Stevens. Well, it's 1-on-2. The one leads back in the race. That's Fisher. Closing is Johnson. Johnson, wonderful balance, at least initially. Then he went down. O'Brien's in there. We'll have a ball up.
And Dennis, a matchup to keep an eye on. Heath Shaw is trying to get to Murphy. Gibbs has been trying to get to Heath Shaw. That will sort itself out in the latter part of this quarter. Gibbs did a really good job last weekend on Chad Corns, and I think they're just sort of teaching him that next stage of his games. We see Brett Ratton already a little bit agitated about what he's seeing out there on the field.
Cloak won the tap and then did the roving himself. Thomas put the tackle on.
Trinity held in there. Thanks, Cameron and Dale.
So Grigg picks himself up.
Cloak just put an arm bar on Thomas while they were lying on the ground.
He's fired up, the ex-Magpie, with the famous name. Thomas pushes forward. Judd.
Judd in close, got a hand pass away. Armfield moves nicely. Carrazzo. Thornton, the defensive side of the wing towards half forward. What a well-weighted kick onto the chest of Stevens. Stevens wanting to go. Favola, well, Favola takes it to the boundary. No margin for error there for the kicker. Favola looks back and has a bit to say, I think, about the kick. Well, the lead was in the wrong place, Ben.
No, you're spot on, Dennis. I mean, that's okay to lead there because you're going to drag your direct opponent to it, but the kick should have gone squarer towards the goal.
Reece Shaw and Judd. That was the info, Tim, that Ricky got, was that Reece Shaw would run with Judd. And then there was a thought maybe from the Blues it'll be something different. So he might have the big job. Cloak, interesting year, Cloak. He's had some big matches and he's had 2 or 3 droughts. The big one on Anzac Day. Speaking of which, Medhurst kicks almost to the forward 50. Scotland played in a couple of grand finals for the Maggies. Picked up by O'Brien to Thomas. Run down, but does get a kick away to the goal square almost. Fraser went to ground. Ball rolling. Won't be a goal.
And the reason why these Collingwood forwards are so difficult to match up with is that they go and they push really high into the midfield. Here's a great tackle here by Lockyer on Scotland.
Jamison out of the back pocket then. Simpson. Carlton have started okay, finding space. Here's Cloak right on the wing. Told to play on, goes down towards half forward. Fisher, lively forward like him. Test for O'Brien, kicks towards full forward. Wakeland does well. He was body to body with Cruiser and timed the moment to leave. Didn't ring, didn't call, just left. And touched it across the line.
Sorry, Dennis, I reckon that's the right idea, to get in there as quickly as you possibly can before the numbers get back. The kick just went to the wrong side.
So Reece Shaw with a couple of running bounces and then kicks to O'Brien. O'Brien to centre half forward. Chio Halpin was in the front spot. Cloak from 50. Kicks to the pocket. Davis went early and misjudged it.
I reckon the nerves are getting to the players in the early part of this game. There seems to be a lot of adrenaline pumping through their veins at the moment. If you watch their performance, they're not doing the measured thing. There's been a number of kicks that have gone into forward lines at either end of the ground that just haven't been to the correct target.
And there's another pretty nervy kick coming from the back through Thornton. Waite. There's so much to like about his athleticism. Jamison back in the team today. Had that shoulder problem. Well done, Hampson. I'm with you, Dennis. Armfield looks likely.
Well,
Gee, Betts was good to Armfield. They're on here if he can deliver. Fisher gave the first. Armfield took a long time. He does deliver. Whew.
He did that beautifully, though. The way that he carried the ball. And the thing about players who actually run and bounce the ball is most times they don't actually execute the kick as well as what they should, but he finished it off beautifully. And already Favola's looking lively.
There's a great shot, Tim, a moment ago when you saw in the background the scuffling going on between the Collingwood forwards and the defenders behind Fev. Well, Fev looking back now. 50 metres for Favola here.
Here's Grigg, and Grigg is actually going with Swan. Both of them interchanged at the same time, and Swan got Grigg a little bit high, almost at the interchange gates. The umpire was able to spot that, and now Favola will finish off with the simplest of goals.
We'll talk about high drama at the G. Fev kicks the first.
Margin is 7 points, and I think we found a witness, someone who can identify the perps. Down to Ricky.
Thanks, Dennis. It happened right in front of me. What happened is Swan was coming to the interchange bench. Greg, who's his tag, actually stopped him from getting to the bench, just used a shepherding tactic, and Swan got frustrated because he couldn't get to the bench and slung him to the ground. That's what gave the free kick away.
Snitch. Stevens gets a hand pass out. Schofield goes back. Thornton towards Betts. Betts trying to get separation. Will get a free kick. Will advantage be paid? Well, Judd would like that one back. It wanders down towards Murphy. Murphy took a fall initially. Like a cook in the ocean, springs to his feet. Hooks it back. Takes a bounce for Carlton. Hangs a long time in the air. Maxwell gets back and runs it across the line.
That's going to be a fascinating matchup between Murphy and Heath Shaw. Heath Shaw has been tagged the last month. The last time these two sides played, Bruce, he was averaging about 29 touches. He's back down to 16, so he hasn't been the prolific player we saw in the early part of the year.
Pendlebury started on the interchange. High tackle surely on Simpson. And Tim Thomas, the number 2, and Murphy, the number 1 from the same draft, both out there today.
You just wonder whether that's been mentioned in the lead up to this game, don't you?
Yep. They've both been very good, haven't they, in their first few seasons. Reid with a long one. He got it from Medhurst. Cloak's got a couple to beat. He goes to ground. So Reid getting a bit of it early. He only had 5 disposals in his other match this year. The only other time he played was on the Saturday night when the Kangaroos upset Collingwood. Cloak keen to get on to Gibbs. The little give to Scotland. Good-looking kick.
This is exactly what he did to them last time. He beat the defenders on the long lead. He's so quick out of the goal square. Too fast for Harry O'Brien last time. Already he's been too quick for Nathan Brown. But this is wonderful disposal here from Heath Scotland on his non-preferred kick by foot, which is his left foot. Beautifully weighted kick.
Well, he's kicked 7, 6 and 4 going backwards the last 3 times he's played against Collingwood. 17 in his last 3. He's got the first goal today. That's not going to come back. So 1 goal, 2 to Favola in this opening term.
And what the Blues have been doing well at the other end of the ground too is Collingwood are trying to drag them all over the place with their forward line. They're actually trying to keep a little bit of structure, so when it has gone in there, they've been able to outnumber Collingwood.
O'Brien inside the defensive 50 then goes towards the outer side, and Johnson fisted away from behind and out of bounds. Well done, Thornton. Interesting duel too. Dennis Armfield, the young man from Swan Districts in Western Australia, on Leon Davis, originally from Perth as well, the Perth Footy Club, on each other. Davis hasn't had a possession. Armfield more than any other player out there at the moment with 4. Cloak goes after the ball. Hand passes towards the 50. Schofield worked off the line. Bentic did well. Fisher on the assist. Taken by Murphy. Stabs it inside the forward 50 and Favola juggles it.
Well, that time he beat Harry O'Brien. And I don't know whether or not there was just a little bit of chaos there as the ball came forward. Or O'Brien is actually now, well, it looks like O'Brien has now gone to Favola after those 2 easy marks by Favola on the lead. That was the matchup last time that really bothered Mick Malthouse, so they just couldn't get it right all afternoon.
Should kick this one. 2 goals last week. 7 back in round 4 for the 2nd time against the Magpies, and he's made a very good start this afternoon. They're coming for Collingwood at the moment.
So Fev, 4 shots for goal.
He's as confident at the moment playing on Harry O'Brien as he would against any defender in the competition.
So a big start now for Carlton, winning the clearances. Bentic kicks forward. Fisher, Brown now on him. He started forward, as Tim told us the last time. He kicked a couple of goals. Here's Davis. That's his first disposal to Wellingham. He's been very impressive in the 5 games he's played so far. Johnson, Cloak, that's a good stretch.
They've had just 3 handballs so far, Collingwood, so they haven't been able to get any run whatsoever in their game. And those forwards, despite how brilliant they are, they've had most of their possessions up the field.
Burns, that's a dangerous kick. It's a goal. Very dangerous indeed. Well done, Didak.
The evergreen Scott Burns made his debut against Carlton round 1, 1995. His first opponent was Craig Bradley. Carlton won by 29 points. Matt Clappe, there's a name, kicked 3 goals. 87,000 watched it. We're in that territory this afternoon. Knocked down by Cloak. Murphy, Bentic, Scotland's away. Davis is coming hard, not in time. Scotland in front of the leading man, Cruiser. Got the hand pass away. Favola goes after it. Had the initial socker. There, his legs under there. Favola, belly up.
He made the early error. The umpire's correct. He dived on the ball. He should have hit it out right there. He should have kept the ball alive rather than dragging it in under himself, and he was in all sorts of trouble. The umpire adjudicating correctly.
Talking about Burns, biggest crowd between these two clubs for a home and away game on his debut. Just in excess of those 87,000 I was talking about. 10 minutes to go in the term. Carlton getting the fast start. Now Collingwood starting to settle. Shades of that first game. But they never got all the way back. Fraser, Medhurst under pressure. Russell frisked him, took him down, holding the ball.
Easy. Thank you.
He doesn't get caught too often, Medhurst, does he? Not in the black and white. Gee, Russell was like a terrier dog on him, wasn't he? Like a Jack Russell. As he kicks the ball forward, Fev went too early. And the number 5, gee, you reckon Nick Maxwell would have been stirred this week with everything, with Buckley wearing his jumper, wouldn't you?
Yep.
And it's been Buck's week so much.
Well, one of the other major discussions during the week has been blockbuster fatigue as well, Bruce. I think the Blues are enjoying the occasion more than Collingwood at the moment.
Don't mind these adrenaline rushes when you come here with 80,000.
I wouldn't be complaining about it.
Shaw, Scotland, Judd, Lockyer.
Carlton now has the matchup that they wanted.
Thanks, Heath.
They've got Heath Shaw, or Gibbs has now gone Heath Shaw. Now Gibbs' job is to stop Heath Shaw from running out and to present himself to the ball when Carlton control it.
Knocked out of there. Only as far as Reece Shaw. Fraser, not the best hand pass. Thomas did well. Fraser, Lockyer involved earlier, gets the kick. Beyond the centre line, terrific mark. Medhurst wants to go, does. Kicks inside the forward 50. Working in front down there was Cloak. Had it punched away by O'Halpin. Close to the boundary line, under desperate trouble. Falling to the ground. That man, Greg, could do nothing except hand pass further away. And luckily for him, it went out of bounds. So a boundary throw in. Yes, they've coined the phrase this week. Blockbuster fatigue. It's actually a syndrome now, I think. So we've got BFS. Interesting, it does include the initials BS. We've got a bounce midway between wing and half forward.
Nice to the ball.
Griggs back to Swan again. He'll wear him throughout the afternoon.
So Thornton against the flow. Carazzo. So they just set up here. The Blues. Wiggins. Simpson. Back to Waite. Well done. Creating something there out of not a whole lot. Now Simpson's a hard runner and a long kick. He's going to go to the goal square. Gibbs getting back. Davis couldn't quite accelerate onto the footy. Favola could. Look away, handball didn't go far. Lockyer, Gibbs, Bentic. Good struggle.
They're terrific at the moment, Carlton. Here's the look away throw.
Gee, didn't Steve Johnson start something a couple of weeks ago?
Almost had an hairy. It's knocked down. Taken by Thomas. Awkward bounce for Burns. Arriving quickly, Murphy. He started brilliantly over the shoulder. Lockyer, though, getting a bit of it now. Kicks it just short of the wing. Cloak getting a hard time. Waiting behind Thornton to Cloak. Now Cloak kicks inside the forward 50. What a beautiful kick. And some wonderful strength by Favola. A battle of strength with O'Brien. And he got that separation over the last 5 metres. Watch this again.
Just what this bit here. It was just okay. I know exactly where you are. I'm going to hold you. It's a beautifully weighted kick. I do that. I can run and take an easy chest mark. And doesn't he look super confident today, Brendan Favola? I reckon you go out there, you look at your direct opponent, and you think, okay, there's nothing here that can stop me, and that's where he's at mentally right now.
Can you come back from that if you're the opponent? Can you make yourself look like somebody else? Here's Favola, 52 metres out. Gives it a ride. Just off target or behind.
They could have easily kicked 4 in this opening term. 2 goals, 3.
Alan Bond's been able to do that, Dennis.
He has. Go away and get a Schwarzenegger mask.
Some good lateral thinking in the box today. O'Brien, Johnson. It was a good handball because it was on his left side. Floating kick, eluded Hampson. It's been busy, Medhurst. Not everything he's done, those turned to gold yet. Didak, Carrazzo, Medhurst. Medhurst was good there, and Didak was brilliant to Davis, who slipped as he kicked inside. Reid might have just been held onto for a moment. Wiggins' handball well weighted. O'Halpin, steady, well done. Stevens, can they set up here, Carlton? Favola's off now, he goes shorter.
Mac, I reckon they've got the wrong setup at the moment, Collingwood. They've got the 2 tools inside the attacking 50. I reckon they need to make sure that one of their dangerous ground-level players are in there as well.
Willingham did very well there under the pump. Pendlebury back to O'Brien, and the big H is away.
Drives it around the outer side. Set up for Reid. Finds it on the ground as Reid. Lays it off. O'Brien. Little chip just outside the 50. Sliding in. Cloak missed it. O'Halpin got the crumb. He's slung. And he's going to get the free kick.
The first part of the tackle was good, not the second.
O'Halpin lays it off. Carrazzo up from the back pocket. Spots a man in midfield. I think he wanted to go to Simpson, then called the jam off. O'Halpin's got it now. Delicate. Murphy, not 15. Murphy kicks inside the forward 50. And again, Favola's taken the mark, and Michael Malthouse better change this and change it quickly. Fev's slow to get up.
Well, they've been to plan A, which was Nathan Brown. They've been to plan B now, which is Harry O'Brien. He's taken 5 marks inside 50. And he's just getting too much flow. I mean, there's 2 ways of looking at it. You try and stop the flow up the ground, so your midfield has to get on top and pressure Carlton's kicks. At the moment, they're getting far too much easy footy up the ground, and they're able to pinpoint those kicks when they go into attack. Maybe, I'm not sure who actually plan B, C is, by the way. I mean, there's Shane Waitland's down there, but I don't think he's going to be suited to Brendan Favola either.
No plan C.
Oh. Or C.
Favola, 55 metres out, gets right under this one and misses off to the right. It's a behind.
He's kicked 2 goals, 4 for Favola.
Yes, but his kicks have been from so far out and on the angle too. Now, if he can actually start taking the ball in that radius of about 40 metres out from...
Oh, Murphy's cut it off, Tim. Sorry to cut you off. Has he scored it? No, I think he's missed. Gee, Carlton are letting them off the hook here big time, aren't they?
And you know that Collingwood will come again.
So 9 scoring shots to 3. Fev's had 6 of those 9. And remember, he got a 50-metre penalty when he was outside the 50 for Favola. That was one of his goals.
I think he's got to just sit back deeper in the goal square and just wait a bit longer. If he can take those marks inside about 40, he's not going to have to put the hook on the kick like he's trying to at the moment to get that extra distance.
Reece Shaw goes with a long bomb. Jamison, good handball. Fisher up the ground.
Inside.
Scotland to Fisher. Did he run out? He did with the footy.
It was a shame there that Jamison didn't look up and Scotland didn't look up either, because they'd actually orchestrated the player in the midfield. It was Russell who was all alone.
He's such a good kick, Murphy. I mean, it was a big miss, wasn't it? Look at Ratney, can't believe it.
That's a coach that's riding every bump and every kick.
Probably the biggest match he's ever coached in, you'd reckon, wouldn't you? Just about.
I can't think of any bigger.
No. Win today and they're in the 8. What a reward. Past halfway. There's Stevens under pressure. Just jams it on the boot. Murphy, keen to make amends, does well. He's a good player. Kicks inside the forward 50. Favola battling down there with Brown. Brown's gone back onto him, at least for the moment. Lurking behind is Wakeland. Plan D, perhaps. The ball now with O'Brien. Comes away. Here's a chance for the Magpies. Pendlebury having a couple of bounces around the outer side wing. No one coming to him, though. They're making it hard for him. Chips across the ground. Eventually, a belated lead came from Medhurst. He's about 65 metres from goal. Sets it up very high. Why not go to Didak? Didak almost. Carrazzo is there. Crashing in. A chance for Pendlebury. Well done, Didak. Kept it alive. Reid goes with a check side and misses just about everything. A behind. 3 minutes to go till quarter time. Margin is 10 points.
Anthony Rocker, who's going to talk with us at half-time today, looking down. Would have been lovely if Reid had given it to Didac then, with Didac going for goal like that.
Their forward line looked better than when they approached, though, because they had a couple of smalls inside their attacking 50, and it wasn't just Reid and Cloak, the targets.
Gee, Stevens thought that out well. He knew that our Helpman was at the back, but he knew he had to kick it to himself to get that extra distance. And now Simpson, now he's a lefty. Didac running after him, but he's well shepherded. And then Simpson to full forward. Gibbs going forward, can't quite. Maxwell was going to toe poke, then decided to pick it up. Might have been a bad decision in the end.
And that's really smart play there by Gibbs. He's an intelligent footballer. He's picking up Heath Shaw, so he's actually playing the defensive job. He's taking Heath Shaw right to the goal square and then providing the target. Now, if they start kicking to him, then Heath Shaw can't at any stage let him go and sag off and just try and be that extra player.
And Heath Shaw, one disposal, Tim. He averages 22, but in the last 3 weeks, down to 16. And they've been able to, the opposition have been able to just get a bit of a handle on him by some close checking. The advantage paid here, and they're not going to use it here, I don't think, although Murphy's in the pocket. But they just got fumbly there under pressure, Carlton.
They just haven't made enough of the control of the game that they've had in this first quarter, Carlton. They're spanking the Pies all over the ground, but they just haven't been able to hurt them enough on the scoreboard. 9 shots to 4, but they're only 10 points in front.
Hampson trying to direct it down to Judd. In front of him, Reece Shaw, somehow Judd emerges with a football pushed as he kicked. It bounces towards full forward. Getting to his feet, O'Brien. Pendlebury out of defence. Good kick, drives it to a one-on-one. Carrazzo working double time on the genius of Didac, but that time he was content with the result. Got it out of bounds.
Carrazzo's picking up Didac. Now there's a little bit of Claret just dribbling down the cheek of Fisher there. Umpire hasn't spotted it yet.
Trying to get through the pack there was Russell, lost at O'Brien. Reece Shaw, Pendlebury started on the bench. A little chip took something off the kick. Well done by Swan, knocked it to his own advantage. Kicks inside the forward 50. Can they tighten up the scores here, Collingwood, in the last minutes of the term? Jamison did brilliantly. Got it back to O'Halpin. Comes across the ground. This youngster started so well. And so far he's blanketed Davis. Armfield drives it towards the wing. Not getting the fist forward was Maxwell. That was a mistake. Running onto it, a tired Stevens hasn't got the football, or play-on's the call. Maxwell to O'Brien.
And now Bryan. Normally a long kick. That one he shanked a bit out wide. Swan in the front spot with Grigg. Well done, Thornton, to hold him up. Still Thornton. Didac lurking dangerously. Still with Didac. Inside, a beauty. To Cloak.
They are the smartest feet in the game, aren't they?
Yep. And there is Fisher. He was always dangerous here, wasn't he?
Well, there's his first bit of footwork. Just kicking it to himself. And that wasn't an easy kick at all, but he just spotted the space there in front, and that was just beautifully weighted again to Cloak. Well, you'd love them delivered to you like that if you're a forward.
Just a telling moment in the game, I reckon, here, Tim, after the Favola misses. Now, Cloak, we know that he was inaccurate in his first couple of seasons in front of goal from set shots, but this year he's kicking at 70%, 16-7 from set shots. He's been very good. This would be a telling blow for Collingwood. Oh, look at that post banging away there. Hitting it a long way up. Scotland. It's been a good first quarter, hasn't it?
Terrific.
Huge crowd, great atmosphere. Feels like a final. And Scotland going long, and huge fly from Wiggins, who copped a high, hard one, and he's down on quarter time. It settles down now.
Hey, Alan, quarter's over.
Well, Favola was the main man, wasn't he, in the opening term, but they didn't quite get what they needed.
Well, they started with Brown, and then they went back to Harry O'Brien, back to Brown again. But they need to do something to stop the supply, because I don't think they've actually got the defence to stop Favola per se.
He's kicked the 2 for Carlton. They lead it by 19-10 in the big match at the G on Sunday. Lead by 9 points only. You've talked about the Collingwood forward line, but what about the Blues forward line, Tim?
Well, there's an eerie similarity about the way that they've attacked this game and the last time they played against Collingwood. Favola, they just had no answer for him last time. O'Brien, Brown. This is a beautifully weighted kick. Now, I don't think they can stop Favola this afternoon. So what they have to make sure they do is actually put some pressure on the person kicking the footy. That first one to Favola there came from Cloak. This is the forward line pressure they've been applying. This is what they were able to do last time too. They were able to worry Collingwood, and Collingwood's disposal efficiency went right down in the first quarter. It's been way down again.
Started the second term of the G. Chris Judd not in the centre square. In fact, I don't think he's on the ground at the moment. O'Brien, Grigg, hurried kick towards half forward. Bounces inside the 50. Murphy had it for a moment. They're in desperate trouble. Wiggins, Schofield, or rather Scotland. Now Bentic, chopped off by Swan. Kicks towards half forward. Not a good kick. Cloak couldn't control it. Carrazzo wanted a free. Cloak came again. Well done. Bryan, brilliant. Out to Johnson. 60 metres from goal. Reid is the target. It runs on. It'll pull up alongside the goal square. Plenty of time and numbers favour Carlton. Grigg got it from Waite. May go back to Waite. Does a 360. Interesting. Kicks it shy of the wing. Jamieson had it bounce off his chest. Medhurst. Jamison's got him, took him down. Ball up.
And again, they're able to stop Collingwood. There's Chris Judd just looks like he's checking his pulse there. He might just be having a bit of a scratch instead.
So Cloak doing the ruck work. Simpson held up by Pendlebury with O'Brien. Scotland's handball. Carrazzo did really well there. He had nowhere to go, and he was able to back turn to give himself some space. And then Waite's kick gave Russell a bit of a job to do. And now Didak and O'Brien. O'Brien arched the back once, and he just dropped the footy. Tackling's been wonderful. Right. Bentig on the end of the handball. Where's Fev? He's shoving and pushing them out of the way. That's where he is. Clark. She did well there, Murphy. What a contest. O'Brien traps it back. Well done, Burns. Clark. O'Brien look away, terrific. Johnson on the burst. And well done, Collingwood. Reid gives it back to Johnson.
Johnson, 70 metres out, goes looking for the leading player, but target provided by Thomas.
That pressure, that contest at centre-half forward at Carlton's end was just fabulous. Collingwood just getting enough numbers there. Favola again just pushing Brown out of the way. This is what I'd like to see at the other end of the ground there. Mick just going off. He's not happy with what he's seen, but he would have been happier about this. Thomas just doubled back to the goal square, took Armfeld with him, and then made his lead from there.
And having said that about the pressure, what about the reflexes of Mark Murphy? The man in front fumbled. He took the ball on the full. He could play blindfolded. Thomas comes in and gets the goal. Important. Tim, interesting situation. Judd off the ground. Reece Shaw is off the ground. Reece Shaw, in terms of possession, 7-3. So they're trying to shake that tag up, Carlton, with no success at the moment. He's going everywhere with Judd.
They're rolling the dice, leaving Judd off the ground with Collingwood coming at you, aren't you?
Yep.
So Simpson to Murphy. Back to Carrazzo. Stevens to set up. Had a lot of the footy in the first quarter. That's a good long kick. But Clark was good enough to just get in front of Scotland.
Off Didak's boot there over the boundary line on the full. Well picked up by the boundary umpire.
Back here. Knife is here.
Scotland coming in hard, and Clark keeping his eyes on it. Scotland just copping one in the head. Kick to the 50.
Right, it's a free kick against Brown. And that's just because you're too worried about your direct opponent. Clearly a free kick then to Favola. But once again, he's right on the 50. And as we've seen already, in trying to get that extra distance, he's gone the hook. This is a really difficult shot. He can go the distance, but on what we've seen today, he's been giving the ball too much elevation. Let's just see whether or not he can kick cleaner through the ball.
At his best, you'd back him from here, wouldn't you? You'd reckon he'll goal. Holding the line, not going to be a goal. Big fly came in from Cloak, and he's disappointed he didn't hang on to it. So Favola's had a lot of shots.
If I was to tell you that Brendan Favola had 9 kicks and it wasn't even half-time, you'd probably put him down for 4 or 5 goals.
Absolutely, a bit like Buddy Franklin, Tim. What did he have, 21 last night and kicked 1?
That's right, Favola 2-4.
Little one by Swan. Now Brown coming off for Vola.
Brown from the wing then drives it down towards the attacking 50. Carrazzo slid in, controlled it.
Tackle here.
Lockyer diving over the top has been taken high. 60 metres out. Spots Pendlebury running down towards the pocket. Tight angle. Pendlebury misses the near sub. Never had it online.
Carrazzo's became a really good player too. He's probably snuck up on us. He came into the competition. He was a prolific midfielder. Now they've been able to play him as one of their small backs. At different stages this afternoon, he's had Didac to contend with. Now he's on Lockyer. I mean, it's a really good defensive player that can pick up those sorts of players, stop them and still get hold of the footy.
Carlton lead it by 3 points. Scotland to Carrazzo. Still well inside the defensive 50. 7 possessions for Carrazzo so far. Now it's 8.
I was just about to say, I think his kicking's improved too.
Onto the chest of Russell. Bentic on the overlap. Probing kick towards the attacking 50. Great judgment by the veteran. Wakelin goes back, takes the mark short. To another experienced campaigner, Burns. Pendlebury, who came on and had an influence after starting on the bench. Hand passes to O'Brien, a bit shell-shocked. This kick not bad, though, across the ground. Taken by Josh Fraser. Reid on a searching lead. Great speed, great acceleration, and he's going to get a free kick. Well, he just got away from Waite. They started side by side. And whoosh. The kick not great. He had to wait. And that gave Waite a chance. I know it's very confusing, but Reid's got the football, and he'll kick from on the 50. He's a left foot out, so the angle will open up. Thought about it. Decides not to go. Watching him before the game, he's got a pretty accurate kick. Wow. Then he comes. If he kicks this, routines will change around the world. Falls in front. Opportunity down there for Armfield. In desperate trouble, trying to get boot to ball. Forced out of there by Carrazzo. Thomas kicks it right across the face of goal, and it bounces out of bounds in the opposite pocket.
Well, this is actually called the Scotty Welsh shuffle. Have a look at this.
Gee. Swan couldn't quite. Grigg running hard. They need a goal, Carlton. Collingwood just starting to get some control in this match. Betts, who was very good very early, scrambles it inside the 50 for Vola. Strong. Gets another free kick.
Just strength. Just watch this again. There it is. Just the push at the right time by Favola. He is supremely confident. He's just a bloke out there at the moment who knows that neither of those blokes are good enough to play with him man on man.
I wonder if he's supremely confident kicking for goal. That's the only thing. This is his 8th shot in this match.
Almost on the same line too.
Get a terrific view. You'd think this suits the right foot a little bit more, though. He has a bit of a unique style, and he's not going to bring that back. So he's kicked 2 goals, 5 with 1 rush from another shot. It's getting costly, isn't it?
Yep. Coming into this game, he was at about 50%. 62% set shots, but he kicked 42-21.
Because you just feel there's a ceiling to how many times he can get the footy at the 50.
Crowd very unhappy, but clearly a free kick. Pendlebury goes short. Josh Fraser in 2 minds. Back to Pendlebury. This is Burns at the interchange gates. Searching kick. Lockyer favoured by the kickers going back. Carrazzo got a hand to it. Crowd want a free kick, and they might get one. Lockyer. No, so the crowd want one. The Collingwood supporters in the crowd, who are in the majority, wanted one. By the arm.
This is the Malthouse paddock too. We've heard the Dennis Pagan paddock, the Pagan paddock that was employed all those years ago when Wayne Carey was the dominant player in the competition. But we see more and more on a week-to-week basis now Collingwood just pushing their numbers up the ground and then just kicking to that paddock, and there's smaller players working in that space that they create behind the actual contest itself. They do it so well. I reckon they discovered it by accident the night they played Geelong, though.
By accident. Mick won't like that. Tarkin Lockyer, 13 goals for the season, including his fabulous reclining goal last week. This is more conservative, but he puts it through.
Maggie's in front, down to you, Rick.
Well, Simon Wiggins copped a heavy knock just before quarter time. He came to the bench complaining of blurred vision. He was checked by the doctor, who's given the all clear. He's now gone back onto half forward.
Carlton has not kicked a goal for 26 minutes. If they get one now, they hit the front again, but Collingwood making the running now. Ben Johnson, slippery little patch there. Fraser did well. Medhurst got the high one. Handball not good. Johnson had to go searching for it. Reshaw bursting through. Still going Reshaw, and then loading up. It won't be a goal, but it might be in a moment. Pendlebury had a lot of it, and Scotland did very well in the end when he got a second sniff, didn't he?
What do you reckon was going through Chris Judd's mind when he saw Heathshaw just dashing out of the centre there?
I reckon he was thinking, I wish it was me with a footy right now.
Chewy on your boot, eh?
Shaw important early, isn't he? Doing a great job on Judd.
Well, he's doing a great job both ways. Those few possessions Judd has had have been rush ones as well.
Murphy. Still Murphy. Little chip pass. Stevens and Medhurst. Medhurst has been terrific to Wellingham. It wasn't a very good kick by Murphy, actually. And then Wellingham under pressure. Out on the full. He's played 5 games, Wellingham. He's got a perfect record. Collingwood's won every match that he's played in the short career to date. He's 5 for 5.
He's standing on the mark right now. This youngster caught the eye. Dennis Armfield. So much for that. O'Brien gets through. Collingwood looking dangerous now. Medhurst fed back to him. Came from Reid. Medhurst under pressure. That pressure affected the kick. Johnson confronted by Stevens. Back to Reid. Kicks inside the forward 50. O'Halpin got high. Punched away from behind though by Carazzo. Now a chance again for Lockyer. Lays it off. Johnson went down and found it. Couldn't get through. So much for that Wildebeest disguise. Shaw again, terrific. Crashed the pack in the opposite direction. Armfield gave it to Judd. Judd's hand pass. Good to Murphy. Murphy, 12 possessions now, and the 12th a good one. Onto the chest of Fisher. Murphy, Judd is down, but he's picking up the slack towards the attacking 50. Great defence down there by Brown. Stolen by Betts. Goes back towards Wiggins. Thought about a hand pass. Now he goes. Opportunity for the defender, Thornton, and he's kicked a goal.
So Blue then after the goal by Thornton. He's a bit excited, Thornton. Fev coming in and then Didak coming in. And then Fev and Didak, two of the colourful personalities in the AFL. Thornton's second goal only in his career. The last time, the only time, was in the middle of the 2003 season. It was a long time ago.
He likes to space them out.
Simpson did well. Stevens crashing and then throwing it away.
Look at it.
Collingwood given the advantage. Lockyer, well-weighted kick. Their foot skills have been better than Carlton's. Here's Swan, short to Thomas. That wasn't such a great kick. And then Grigg to Jamison. Simpson's on. Carlton to build. Judd. Big cheer. I wonder if he was nervous today, Judd. Gets it back, takes them on, gets to 50, goes to Fev. Well done by Brown, and now Harry's away. It's pulsating stuff.
Davis, a one bouncer, carries it up to the 50. Well, it's a 3-bouncer now, this run. He drives it beyond a wing, and a good kick too. Pendlebury stood his ground, strong mark. End-to-end stuff. Low scoring. Carlton by 3 points. Pendlebury into the bright sunshine now, and Reid looks to the middle. Now he kicks down towards the pocket. Armfield edged forward there by Thomas. And the ball goes out of bounds. Swan claiming a free kick, nothing doing.
Now this is Chris Judd in full flight. Here he is in the centre of the ground. This is where he's dangerous. Hits the target, follows up, gets the ball back again. He actually kicked this beautifully, but Favola misread it. He was waiting and waiting, whereas Judd actually was trying to orchestrate where he wanted him to run to.
Swan hurriedly out of the congestion after the boundary throw-in. And it's going to be a free kick to Thomas. I think for a push in the back. So Thomas, 20 metres out, a chance to regain the lead. for the Magpies.
Two.
And the umpire's not afraid
Just wait.
to pay free kicks close to goal this afternoon. Set shots for this man. 8-1 this season. Well, I think on the 13th earlier today at Torrey Pines, we saw Tiger Woods sink a putt this long. Not sure what that proves.
Just an interesting little story, Dennis, that's all. Something to muse over on a Sunday afternoon.
Got me fascinated.
Carazzo called to play on. So Collingwood, that's a big miss by Thomas. As Dennis said, 8-1 from set shots, including the one earlier today. Well done, terrific mark.
He's improving this guy, isn't he, already today? He's done a pretty good job on cloak.
No help in the Irishman. Kicking into the centre, good kick too. I like this guy, Wiggins. Nicely weighted kick. Maxwell went early. Russell kept his feet. Simpson's a left footer. He can go the long bomb. He's 50 out. Arches to the back. Kicks to the goal square. Bets at the back. Something's happened. It's a Collingwood free kick.
Hands in the back. Go on.
And O'Brien's off. Gee. So Wakeland getting the advantage.
Nowhere to go here. Absolutely nowhere to go, and the umpires decided to call it back. No advantage at all. He had to come up the centre here. There's the push.
It was interesting how Wakeland was able to change the umpire's mind. He almost said, look, umpire, I don't really want the footy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a special day for him.
It's his 150th for the club, yeah.
He gets special consideration on a day like that.
Wellingham to Reid.
Bree's got it now. Wellingham at arm's length, taken down. And he's going nowhere. Thornton pleads the case vigorously. Umpire Farmer comes in. Unmoved. That was interesting. Wakeland realised no options up the wing, so didn't want the advantage.
Play on, man.
Umpire's now got to read the game. Bentic's over the football. Another ball up. 25-27. 7.5 minutes out from half-time. Michael Malthouse.
Okay, don't block.
Game number 750. Official games, that is. Game number 575 as a coach. Only 2 men have coached in more. That first total, played and coached. And there was Johnson. Gibbs in desperate trouble. Just went back, did a U-turn. Not to be advised. Didac battles after the football, at least initially, and they tie it up at the base of the pack. There is Gibbs. Russell in there as well. Bentic, well represented in that pack, Carlton.
Judd's taken Reece Shaw right up the other end of the ground. He's going to play him out of the goal square as a full forward, a second league in target behind Favola. That looks dangerous.
About 60 metres out. Gibbs had it knocked away by O'Brien, taken by Stevens in the grasp. Hand passes to a voice anyone's voice would have done. Carazzo falling to the ground, gave it to Thorn, back to Stevens, spotted the shadow of Swan chasing and used it to his advantage. Fumbled there by Fisher on the lead. It's out of bounds.
Stevens was terrific there, wasn't he? He was able to change direction, as Dennis said. He had that feel. He was able to feel Swan coming at him.
It was hard work to get the ball out of there, though. That's the difference now. Collingwood are applying enormous pressure all over the ground. We've got a great contest.
O'Brien just dropped down. Stevens got it from Bentic. Keeps the kick low to Judd. Judd and Shaw. And now Betts. Still with Betts. Clark corrals him. Betts kept it in, but to the disadvantage. Shaw, very well done to Maxwell, to Johnson. Johnson will use Shaw again, who's playing some sort of a game. Running hard, not a great kick. Taking off quickly was Thornton. Should get something for that. No. Now he does.
You still trying to mark the ball, yeah? You just pushed him out.
Gee, Bentic's on short here. Burns comes off the interchange to try and hold him up, and he does. Bentic. Another little short one. Well-weighted kick. Wiggins working hard at about 60 metres from goal.
You just wonder about the timing of players coming off the ground, don't you, when you watch modern-day football? Saw that on Friday night too. A couple of times where players just took off at the wrong time, left their opponent just free.
Favola almost after the Wiggins kick. Here's Judd, 7th possession, deep in the pocket, and he's put it out of bounds on the full, and Favola indicating it should have come to him. So just for the moment, Chris Judd He's got plenty to think about. Reece Shaw has been terrific. This is Reid working his way into the game too, towards the boundary. Medhurst can't control it.
It was most unlike Chris Judd to do that, but you just wonder whether or not the close attention, as we see some more close attention there, is getting to him from Reece Shaw. I mean, it was like, OK, I really want to kick myself a big goal and get myself into the game by just twisting one around the corner. The wrong option, though.
Cloak to Waite. I don't think there's any doubt. Judd's feeling the pressure. Waite kicks inside the forward 50. Off hands and across the line for a minor score. Carlton increased their lead. It's back to 3. Reece Shaw doing it all to himself, demanding Judd work. Judd nowhere to be seen that time. Well, there he is in the foreground, tracking it out towards half-back. Maxwell, untidy kick, brilliantly picked up by Swan. Back to Maxwell. Swan's got it now. Comes to Johnson. And Johnson, midway between the lines, half-back and centre wing. Drives it towards half-forward. Cloak had a problem with his son initially. Can't keep it in. Boundary throw-in.
Tight game, just 6 goals so far in this intriguing first half. Bryan and Cloak, they started their careers playing for the opposite jumpers. Cloak a Magpie, Bryan a Blue. And here is Bryan getting that free kick, and look at that long bomb. Where's Thomas? He's there. Waite got a fist open. Quick tackle, Pendlebury, still Pendlebury. Thomas, still with Thomas, but he gave it away, and then Medhurst sort of left it, and the Blues force it out.
And that's great pressure again by the Carlton backs. There's a good release handball, but just, oh, he just got lost there. He just lost the ball.
Halfway between a kick and a handball, Thomas, wasn't he?
Good play.
Russell, Stevens wanted a high tackle. He ducked, he's in trouble. And you do wonder the pressure on an umpire when the ball's 15 metres out compared with 75 out when something like that happens.
Well, I think the umps have done a terrific job helping this game along this afternoon. When we've looked at most of the free kicks in replay, they've been there. Stevens backhands it down to Russell. Wiggins in trouble. O'Brien somehow stole it away. Another ball up. I mentioned it before, umpire Farmer getting a big game. Young West Australian.
This is where we want the third man up just to clear this.
He bounces it. Maybe an umpire on the rise. Russell. Wrestled down. Another bounce. The old rivals going at it this afternoon. Not giving a centimetre. Goals as a backdrop. Dangerous. Oh, down goes Swan. He's going to get the free kick.
Dane! Kick, Dane! In the square too. Was he in the square? It's in the square. No, it's not. Thanks, Dave.
Well, Greg can't believe it. I think he's asking if Swan is on the wetlands protection program. But Swan's got the ball 5 metres out, and that kick, I think, was there too. And he comes, he walks in, and he kicks it.
Dane Swan's goal from the square puts the Magpies back in front.
Against you, Paul.
Well, there was that scuffle going on after the goal, wasn't there? And eventually Carlton get a free kick. You know why? So the handball missing the target. Murphy gets a second chance, goes back to Cloak, and Cloak goes long for Vola. Just worked underneath of it cleverly. Wiggins, well done. Maxwell, only as far as Simpson. He's on his wrong side. O'Brien, gee, they did that well, Collingwood. It might have been fortunate, but it was brilliant. Burns to Davis. Ball coming out of Carlton's attack a lot easier than it's coming out at the other end, isn't it, at the moment? Davis hooking back inside to Medhurst and gets him.
That was a marvellous kick. There were 3 extra Carlton defenders back there. It just needed a touch of brilliance and an execution like that for them to keep the ball in their hands. Well done.
He's not absolutely beyond Medhurst here, but he's gone shorter. Jumper. And a free kick to Swan.
He's in front. He's in front. Andrew, you grabbed him by the jumper. You can't do that. You gave up front position.
Well, you heard it all there.
Mark's here.
He's very good above his head, though, too. Swan, I think this was a really bollard Carazzo as he saw the ball coming in there. He was in position B. Swan was in position A, and just as he tried to get a bit of a lift, he took some jumper.
And this one not going to be a goal. He was leant back on it, didn't he? And it's a poor kick. A big miss, actually. That would have been a deadly blow late in a low-scoring half that Carlton has been in front for more than 50% of the time.
They're not clearly on top at the moment, Collingwood, and I mean, nor does the scoreboard suggest that, but I think your point's really good. They're actually bringing the ball out of their defensive part of the ground a lot smoother and a lot easier than what Carlton is.
O'Halpin looking for Judd. He's outnumbered, battling with Davis there. Now he needs to be careful, Chris Judd.
Leon dragged it in as well. Thank you.
Heard the explanation.
Yes. Thank you. Leon dragged in as well.
So here's the bounce, about 40 metres out from goal. Collingwood's attacking goal. Slapped towards the middle by Fraser. Bentic, was he pushed in the back? We'll get a free kick.
Adam Bentic.
It's funny because I think the umpires will be the subject of some discussion after the first half, but as we've said, they're doing a pretty good job.
Move it on. Play on now. Play on.
Bentic told to play on then. Deep at his own defensive 50. Well, that's a terrible kick, as it turns out, almost as if designed to go to Medhurst. Medhurst, wonderful. A sleight of hand. And then he boots it through for a goal. Magic.
He's had lots of disposals in the first half. None better than that. There's Nathan Buckley. And with him, Jet and his father on his left, Ray Buckley. Tanya, his wife, a couple away. A huge week, as we said, for the Buckley family this week. A tribute week, lap of honour before the game.
Step it out. Your ball, Matthew. No. You're coming over this side, Josh.
So it's actually a free kick against Fraser, and then Judd banging it back in for Vol. It's just gone off the boil a bit. Lockyer getting back. Now Johnson. Johnson getting a lot of distance on that. Reid leading in the race. Waite. Sliding in Jamison. I reckon Collingwood would like what's happened in the last 10 minutes.
Bruce, I don't reckon he really has gone off the boil. It's just the way that the methodology in which they're bringing the ball forward. There's more pressure up the field. On that occasion, it was a long, high looping ball, and it was Maxwell that did the right thing, being that third man up and spoiling the ball. So it's not the way that they were delivering the ball to him in the first quarter.
Hampson at an airy, and then Lockyer pushes forward.
This boy's been good, Reid.
Yeah.
He's had plenty of the ball. I reckon the one part of his game that he really needs to improve is his kicking.
Goes down inside the 50. We heard you, and the mark is taken by Cloak. So Cloak right on the 50 then. And as you can see, this is a very difficult shot for him, if in fact he decides to go for it. Indications are, at least early, that he will. Cloak can kick it a long way, and this is working back right to left, exposed square off hands. Hampson arriving quickly, knocks it across on the siren for half-time. And Collingwood have taken some big punches from Carlton. Chris Judd has been well held, but for all of that, the Magpies are on top at the major break.
Fowler's shoulders. Thomas has been busy forward, and there's Judd. How will that play out? Judd and Shaw.
Cruz has gone to the goal square alongside Brendan Favola. They need to find themselves another forward option. I'm not sure if he's the right one, but they've got to find someone else who's capable of taking a mark and kicking a goal inside their attacking 50.
Can the Blues relight the fire here? Knocked down by Cloak, stolen by O'Brien, kicks it towards the attacking 50. It bounces inside, going back to Carazzo. Medhurst tried to get it across towards Wellingham. Judd throws his body in. Cloak does well at close quarters. Gave it to Reid, to Medhurst. 55 metres out, heard the umpire. Not 15. Cloak, Swan, steps the would-be tackler. 55 metres out. Judd does well.
He saw that, Chris Judd. There's no question about that. Even the way he approached that ball looked like he actually took a little bit of time to get going. Just watch this. Now, that's not the normal spurt of pace, that brilliance that he's had off the mark.
Fraser, but it went to Scotland, to Carazzo, and then Carazzo to a one-on-one with Betts and Clark. Free kick.
You made the point during the break, though, too, whether or not this would be the most difficult part for him, Bruce, after he'd actually cooled down at half-time. You'd love to get inside their rooms, Carlton's rooms, just to see how they approach him when they have that long break, because there's no question that he's not 100% fit.
And that was interesting. Betts not putting his boot on and kicking with the left, and O'Brien cutting it off. Now he's got to go back and get that boot. and Marty Clark's on his own for the moment. So Betts caught in a bit of a spot, but they didn't use Clark. Gee, Swan's been busy, hasn't he, late in that second quarter. And again early here, Johnson from centre half back. Long ball, Maxwell the target. Wait, very well done. Went early, Cruiser to Judd. So Judd getting involved a bit early, but cut off Johnson. Stevens was waiting. Over the top. Heath Shaw, so second disposal. Oh, gee, Johnson got around Cruiser a bit too easily. And then kicks to Shaw, who bounds away.
Kicks down towards the 50. Wellingham got down early, missed the mark. Pushing up the ground. Loose by hand, though, was Russell. Not so their opponents. Johnson got it from Shaw. Now it's with Reid. Reid's kick inside the forward 50 to a dangerous spot. O'Halpin defiantly knocked it away, taken by Murphy. Murphy so much of the football, up to 16 possessions now, coming off a career-high 33 last week.
Well, Fisher's the third option up forward. Waite's now gone forward after lowering his colours in the first half to Reid. So that was a good move, and they've shifted Jamison across to Reid.
Fisher found Simpson. Kick inside the forward 50. Waite almost controlled it. Swan hurriedly finds the boundary line on the bounce. 10 points the margin, as it was at half-time. Played a couple of minutes third term. Michael Malthouse on a big day as far as he's concerned personally. But of course, I think it's secondary to his Magpies getting over the line and pushing on towards the top four. Fraser towards O'Brien. Judd overran it. O'Brien didn't.
And then Shaw's handball to Johnson. Put him in a pretty tight spot. O'Brien's handball to space. Swan and Murphy and Shaw having a wonderful match to Ben Johnson, running hard and then delivering to Thomas, who went early. Cloak, just the goals in front of him. For the second time today, he hits the post at the City end. He's had one on the left and one on the right. Gee, what a wonderful opportunity there.
Shaw getting busy too. Judd's taking him to the ball, but he's got good ball sense himself. He's got great nous. And as soon as it looks like Collingwood are going to win the ball turns over. He actually positions himself in an attacking spot. Forgets about Judd for the time being.
So Murphy up to 17 after this.
He's already a star, but he could be something more, Mark Murphy. There is something about his football that's growing week by week now. The kick from Cloak. Cruiser, who's been quiet, to Gibbs. Has the bounce. Runs to centre field. Went a long way after the bounce, and the mark is taken by Cloak. Driven into the ground by O'Halpin. I think he helped a little.
We'll let Shaw go here again.
Yes, running hard. Shaw getting in behind the defence. Takes the mark. Realises Waite, not the quickest man in the world. It kicks long. Two men dropping back. Medhurst takes it on the chest. A searching run by Shaw, resulting in a real opportunity to stretch the lead.
Cameron, if you don't move, I'll pay 50. I'll tell you when it's 50.
They've got the highest kick-to-handball ratio in the competition, Collingwood. We just saw an example of that. Two glorious kicks. Cloak from half-back, Shaw from the wing position. And look where they end up.
Medhurst steps to his left-hand side. Check sides it through for his second.
31 goals for the season for Medhurst. Collingwood have kicked 6 of the last 7 goals. They have the big lead in the match to date. So Carlton, who made all the running early, now struggling. Judd, well done to Bentic, and then Bentic inside that 50 off Favola, nearly. Waite, well tackled by O'Brien. Will this ball run away from Clark? No, it was running away but going the wrong way.
Oop.
So Waite forward. Favola had a good snatch at that. Here's Heath Shaw, who we've seen so little of today. A third disposal coming up. He had a handball earlier in this quarter. Such a playmaker, but now being tagged in the back end.
The interesting thing, though, is that everyone's been tagging for the last month. Collingwood has still been kicking goals. In fact, they've been kicking bigger scores than they kicked in the earlier part of the year. So I just wonder whether or not that's what you should be doing to try and beat Collingwood, because it hasn't been effective at all.
So now Maxwell is going to have to go right back to Brown.
the only man inside the defensive 50 for the Magpies.
Beautiful hole right up the ground.
He tries to exploit that. Leading into that hole, Cloak had it knocked away by O'Halpin, taken by Burns. Off the ball, Murphy went down, didn't see what happened. Kick inside the forward 50 meantime. Getting back is Thornton. Only as far as Medhurst, finds a way through, snaps at his third and misses comprehensively.
There's real danger signs now for Carlton because the ball is just getting there too regularly and without enough pressure. They just have to keep pressurising Collingwood all over the ground.
Cloak got it from O'Halpin, and the big guy gets around Bryan. It loads up to Fisher, but Maxwell getting back, didn't take the mark. O'Brien, still with O'Brien. That's a good example of what you're talking about, Tim. Coming out of that defensive 50 very easily. Burns to Lockyer. Lockyer with a bit of space here. Time to think about it. Thomas the target. Always flies early. Didac clever. Fraser searching. Going for goal. Very high. Very straight. Very, well, unlucky. But Medhurst, rather, O'Brien says, that'll do. Goal.
Margin of 23 points as we get down to Ricky Olorenshaw prowling the boundary.
Well, while I was prowling the boundary, I saw that Carlton got another injury concern. There's Armfield on the bike, and his right thigh heavily bandaged. He copped a ripper corky. He was actually picking up a small forward in the first half, and did quite a good job on Davis and Thomas. So got to cover him. Still no sign of Sean Grigg on the boundary either.
Bryan came hard at that centre bounce. Russell got it from Judd, goes to Stevens, accelerates away, kicks it down towards half forward, pitches in front of the leading player Betts, kept it going though, knocked it across to Schofield, or rather Scotland, who runs into an open goal and gets it.
Going straight back on.
It's been a terrific player since coming across from Collingwood. There's Grigg, so out of action. We believe he may have a broken rib or two for the rest of the day. So Armfield on the bike and Grigg out of it.
Nice space here too.
So against the flow, Carlton get one back. Swan bangs it forward. Thomas led underneath it, and so was Cloak. Good tackle by Didac. Thornton didn't really get a good handball away. Bryan, bouncing ball. Didac brilliantly done. Got it out to Burns, who hooks back. Medhurst has got it. They are clever.
He's just brilliant.
He never gives up on a situation, Timmy. He creates something and works out how I can get this ball to an advantageous position for my club.
I don't know. Look, there's probably been players who are his equal, but I don't know that I've ever seen anyone who's been better at improvising the way that he improvises.
Yep.
In real pressure situations, though, too, when he has hardly any space whatsoever to operate in.
20 gone.
Medhurst, big figures again today. Gee, what a recruit he's turned out to be. This is his second season. He's had some very big days for Collingwood. And he's missed that, and he's missed his last two, but let's see if it gets back to hurt them as maybe Fevs misses earlier. Here's this kick of Medhurst. It's probably best, isn't he? It's a bit like Stephen Milne. He's absolute best when he's running around on the run on a difficult angle.
Loves that situation, does he not? As Gibbs kicks in, of course, we help waxing lyrical.
Yep.
Clubs could pay us to stand on the mark, Bruce, and just talk to these guys. Here's Didac.
Again.
Goes in short, got it from Swan. Medhurst with a chance to make amends. Not too late. If the phone rings, one of us will head on down, Bruce. We charge more for darts.
He had
Or
to
archery.
He had to take that. How often do we see that happen? Players just sitting back, just waiting. The ball gets cleared. They've set the zone, and they've got lots of freedom.
I'm guessing he'll kick this one. Right post, working it back, does. Good players learn quickly.
So look at Collingwood. Twice as many. There's John Elliott on the right, and on the left of Dick Pratt, the current president, and the former. So Collingwood with 48 disposals to 24 in this third quarter, and they lead by 4. Medhurst has kicked 3-2. Swan out of the centre. Cloak. O'Halpin, been a good duel, that one. O'Halpin stood up very well. Carato went to ground. Davis over the top. been quiet, Davis. Judd well held. We've talked a lot about his duel with Reece Shaw. Pendlebury alongside of him for the moment, or has he gone to Pendlebury? I think Judd has taken that role for the moment. Bryan won the tap. Swan is getting a lot of clearances. Murphy, slow handball over the top.
Well, the blokes that have to get busy now are Murphy, Judd, also Stevens and Gibbs. I reckon they're their 4 best midfielders. If they can get those 4 players around the ball often enough to generate some play, there's some chance. See Gibbs there now manned up against Meadows. There's some chance of actually working their way back in the game.
After the boundary throw in, Johnson tied up. So the margin, 24 points. It was 10 at half-time. Carlton led by 9 at quarter-time. It should have been more. Knocked out of there by Bryan. He's proving a wonderful foil to Fraser. Judd went to ground. Burns a half chance. Well, not sure about that. Murphy. Strange manoeuvre, trying to win a free kick, weight over the shoulder, taken high Pendlebury. He slams one at Davis. In comes Murphy again. Eventually Judd finishes up with the football. Well done, Waite. Opportunity now for Scotland. Back to Judd. Judd loops it over the top. Hanson, the big guy, not ideal, falling to the ground, gave it away. Pendlebury inside the forward 50. Thomas across the path of Medhurst, slipped there by Gibbs. Just flicked it away to Jamieson. Now Russell. To the wing and Cloak opens up for the Blues. Cloak looking down towards half forward, decides Carrazzo would be a wiser move. He kicks towards the pocket for Bowler, draws a double team. Punch comes from Maxwell, still a live ball, at least momentarily helped across the line by that man Clark.
Maxwell has been fantastic at doing that since the first quarter. I reckon he's been the 3rd man up on 4 occasions, and it's really frustrating for Bowler. Now he's not getting the ball on the lead. Maxwell's getting there in the air and affecting the spoil.
Tim, that's plan C, and I think it's working well. Here's Judd trying to impose himself. Just not working. It's almost like he needs to be reprogrammed today, Juddy, isn't it?
I reckon that was
first kick.
That is because he couldn't kick hard enough through the ball. He just hasn't got his power through his hips.
And certainly A for effort. Now Simpson, a left footer, gets the ball back to a goal square and just missing.
The last couple of minutes they've had their hands on the ball though, Carlton, which is a good sign.
They've kicked 4-12, the Blues. Remember last week at three-quarter time against Port Adelaide, they were 3 goals 12.
Reid, clever use of the body.
Going to be a player, Dennis, I think.
Yeah, we like him. They've been waiting a while, but they do respect him at Collingwood as the kick goes from Pendlebury close to the boundary line. Gibbs tunnels the ball back through his legs. Johnson close to the boundary line. Worked off the line by Stevens. Lockyer almost got it. Stevens did well in a tight situation to Jamieson, to Gibbs. Gibbs from the wing, kicks towards half forward. Coming back with the run of the ball there was Armfield. Showed a lot of courage. Knocked it on to Simpson. This may lift the Blues. No, he's off target. I think Armfield is a name for the Black Book as well.
That's Armfield. It might be Body Felt there though, Dennis.
She's courageous though. There's so much to like about him, isn't there?
Yes.
Clark, short. Just filled, Tim, that last 5 minutes Carlton have had a bit of the footing.
Yep.
And just haven't been able to put it on the board.
But you've got to score. I mean, eventually during the stage of a game, there's going to be ebbs and flows. But when it does flow, that's when you have to hurt the opposition on the scoreboard.
A couple of 1-2s there, and Burns gets it again. Cloak did well. As I said earlier, I think Halpin and Cloak's been pretty even duel to date. Cloak's kick to the pocket. Oh, Medhurst almost. Jamieson, Bentic, Scotland. The advantage given comes out to Murphy, having a big game in terms of disposals. Not every one of them has been effective.
Last 3 times the ball's gone in there, though, they've been effective at their actual rebound. So this is a good sign for Carlton.
So Murphy gets it back from Carrazzo, then he stops. Now he better be careful here. Oh, he ducked under Bryan. Carrazzo back to Murphy. They're teasing, aren't they? Now Scotland decides to go to Fev.
Oh.
They were patient. Favola decides I don't like these set shots, and then he wastes one, doesn't he? And now Clark gets it.
And just jogs off in another direction as Clark goes in short. Finds Johnson. Fraser Fraser in midfield. Stevens got him, forces the error. Cruiser onto the loose ball. Not a lot of support, plenty of numbers around, but I think Burns is going to beat them all and fight a draw. How good was that for Collingwood?
Now, the reason why Murphy stopped that is because Collingwood had been get that extra number back. It was Dane Swan who filled that space in front of Favola. Then they had to kick the ball so wide, and Fev just lost confidence in his long kicking.
That can happen to most people. I don't like to see it kicking into the man on the mark, but you've got to work afterwards. Getting through, Armfield has the bounce. Terrific Shepherd from Simpson. Armfield's kick. Off-targeted bounces out of bounds in the pocket. After Fev kicked into the man on the mark, it was the best and worst of Fev, really. The mark was good on the strong lead, but then just jogged on a 45-degree angle when the man behind the man on the mark who got the football was pushing back in his direction. He actually went off on a tangent. Not the first time. Very Favolian out of defence. Fraser's kick is marked by Scotland.
Good kick.
Who kicks for space. Beautiful kick. And Waite running to that space has taken the mark closer to goal than Favola moments ago, but on the same angle. Scotland coming off. Well, that's an interesting interchange. They meet about 25 metres off the line.
No, that was for Bentic. Bets going on. Fisher came on for Scotland.
There was a previous one, was there? Meantime, back at the game. Waite puts it through for a goal.
Good goal. They're hanging in there. Down to you, Rick.
Well, I reckon Collingwood have realised that Judd is not at his physical peak, so what they're now doing is Swan and Shaw are rotating through him and double teaming. Shaw's just had about a 5-minute spell on the bench and gone back to him, but I think they can work off him offensively.
Murphy having a big game inside the 50. Favola brilliantly. Betts just didn't quite back to Judd. Wonderful handball. Armfield, they've got a bit of belief. They're not done yet. Here they come.
Margin is 10 points. Not sure what this is all about. Who's got the longest? Back in the middle. 8-11 to 6-13, so we've had 14 goals. It's the sort of game, Tim, that could give us another 10. It could break wide open. It's been about defence so far. Can they keep defending at this rate? Scotland kicks it out towards the wing. Thomas overran the football. Didak, the man of many feet, comes through, used his left that time, flicks it away to Thomas. Thomas has a couple of bounces, loves this situation. Too clever by half. Chopped off by Gibbs. Hand passes across to Waite. Rebound opportunity for the Blues. Low down to Betts. Gets a hand pass to the run of Murphy. Coming up to his 25th possession. Could be another career high today. Favola to the pocket. And again the ball goes out of bounds. Just wonder about the wisdom of that deep pocket lead. That's school stuff.
Talk about degrees of difficulty.
Cloak bounces around in there. Fraser could have been taken high. O'Brien, Pendlebury up towards the wing. Good running mark taken by Lockyer.
Terrific, wasn't it? And a good kick inboard to Clark, who's run off his man. Shaw running hard. Reshaw over the top to Cloak. Cloak from 49 metres. That is a wonderful team goal.
Cool. They had a bit to say after he kicked that goal too. So, again, it's a challenge squarely with the Blues.
It is the time to say it if you've got something to say, though, Dennis.
That's right. As long as it doesn't come back to bite you. Opportunity for O'Brien now. Next goal pretty important. 5.5 minutes out from three-quarter time. Wellingham has got it. 75 metres from home. Cloak gives a lead. Play on's the call. Cloak virtually only 20 metres away now. Kept on coming. Long kick. Good mark taken in defence by Carrazzo. He's done a good job. Carrazzo across the ground.
Simpson's going to be on here. Look up.
Cruiser. Sweeping hand pass to the man Tim mentioned. Now he can run it virtually to half forward. There's no Collingwood players between him and the 50-metre arc. Swan is the only one. Swan came to him late, belatedly, but affected the error. It bounces down inside the forward 50. O'Brien into the clutches of Judd. Got a hand pass away. Over the top goes Wakelin. Diving in there is Fisher. Tried to kick it on one knee. Judd comes again. And the ball ricochets off his body and goes out of bounds in the right full forward pocket.
I think it's a free kick to, is it to Wakelin, is it?
May have come off his leg and then on the full. Is that the call, or is it coming back to Wakelin for something?
I think it's back to Wakelin. So Cruiser off the ground. We saw, gee, that's a poor kick. Medhurst kicked it in, and that's another pretty average kick. Betts, well done, Reeshaw, just to stop. Betts is running. Gee, that was a free kick to Betts. Betts did well. Fev goes to full forward. Fisher, not quite. Yes.
Umpire saying front on contact then.
So Fisher is in a bit of a drought personally with goals in the last month. Keeps Carlton very much in the match.
Matt Fisher, who kicked his first AFL goal on debut against Collingwood, round 2, 2003. Then he kicked at least one goal in his next 9 games. Cruiser with the trainers. A lot of goals from free kicks this afternoon. Hampson waits. Now we got a whistle and a free kick going Carlton's way.
Sean.
Not sure what that was about. Was it a centre square infringement? Bit going on. Simpson storms through, sends it long for Bowler, checks off the ball and takes a wonderful mark. Well, it's about instinct sometimes. He knew the drop zone there well before Brown did the equation, kept him out of the area, and then at the last moment plucked it.
That's a good strong mark, but the other important thing about that, Dennis, too, is the fact that Collingwood couldn't get that third man up into the contest then because the ball just got down there too quickly.
Pavola comes in and kicks his fourth. In fact, his third.
Big effort by Fev. Down to you, Ricky.
You can see Matthew Cruiser there in the hands of the doctors. Actually, he's bleeding from the mouth. And I just had to check to see if he's got any broken teeth and also a broken jaw. But that's been given the all clear. So I reckon we'll see him in this last quarter.
So they're one man down, aren't they, with Grigg? So hopefully Cruiser can come back. He had a big last quarter last week. So did the Blues. Pendlebury. And he wanted to give off and then wasn't sure, but Lockyer was good. And then Didac to Cloak. Worked underneath it by O'Halpin. I think Thornton wants this to run out, and it does. Well, what a good comeback this has been by Carlton. I mean, Collingwood were 4 goals in front and looking home 15 minutes ago. And the Blues very much alive. Brian, that was good. And then Swan cleverly behind.
Armfield has now gone to Heathshaw too. Now, I think that's a really good move because Carlton aren't sacrificing one of their better midfielders to actually sit down. As we see Griggs there just being tested to see whether or not he's capable of coming back on the ground. Looks like he passed that test.
He might be okay.
Just as well wasn't Francis Burke conducting it.
Yes. The team bumper called into action. Close to the boundary line. In fact, it runs out ahead of Simpson.
It was Francis Burke that tested Mickey Malthouse's shoulder, wasn't it, on the eve of the 1981 Grand Final?
A severe workout from all accounts. Tossed in. Bryan slaps it down in front. Wellingham. Crowd want high. Nothing doing. So it's set up now. 5 points the difference. Carlton need to hold here. And a reprieve for Ratton, who thought, I'm sure, a few minutes ago this game was gone, but it has, as we predicted, opened up. Now Swan a chance to score a goal. It just drifts away and misses narrowly.
He's had 4 shots for goal, though, Dennis. He kicked his first in the last 3, 1 out of bounds on the full and a couple of behinds.
20 possessions for Dane Swan. Coming off, by his standards, a quiet day last week. Now Scotland runs it up to right half back. Maybe the Blues can lead at 3/4 time. Not with that kick.
That was poor play. They just didn't have that secondary lead. He had to lower his eyes and go to the first lead then.
Maxwell to Johnson. Forward of half back. Bryan ambles to possession. Overcommitted almost Betts. And Bryan kicks from the centre square.
Cruz has got to go here. He showed a bit of courage for a boy that might have had a broken tooth or two and a jaw that's pretty sore.
Don't you love to see that from a young player?
So one bandage to another, eh? Cruiser to Fisher. Simpson's been very good. He's run hard in this quarter.
Scotland's been good this quarter too. In fact, so good Mick Moldhouse has decided to take Ben Johnson off Stevens and now put him running with Scotland.
Back to Cruiser.
Good boy.
And Cruiser takes off and then goes to Favola. Held on to.
Yeah, go through, mate.
That's a lot of guts by Cruiser.
That is terrific. I mean, that is the hardest spot on the ground to fill. When you slide back into that hole and you know the kick's been directed to a marking forward. No doubt about that free kick.
Well, this will get a reaction. Can Fev put them in front? It's been a lot about Fev today. It's all about Fev. It's a good kick. They're in front. The Blues are in front. Ties it up, I should say. All square.
Favola with 4 goals then. Cruiser, after that strong mark, so valuable last week in the closing stages against Port. 6 goals from free kicks, 3 apiece, and 5 Carlton goals in the last 16 minutes, and 4 quick goals. So this game now has broken open. Chances for both clubs to be taken. Can they take them? Getting back O'Brien, feeds it to Wakelin, kicks it down towards half-forward. Thornton did well. Dismissive of Thomas that time. Just pushed him away. And the indication is we're going to slow it down. At least we think that's what it stands for. Things happen of this ilk when they do what he did. Thornton's got it back again. Clock is down to 13 seconds. Goes across the ground to Bentic, has run hard. So now there's not enough time for a score.
Dennis, when they have the momentum though, I mean, surely as a group of players they can feel the momentum's with them. That's when they should hammer home the advantage.
Couldn't agree more. 3/4 time. Well, it couldn't be any better from our point of view. Michael Malthouse not so sure with that assessment. But we can sit back for the next half hour or so and really enjoy how this plays out. Sunday football at the G, 9-13 apiece, 2 bitter rivals. Players at 3/4 time, or part of it. I'd love to have heard Cruiser. Bryan goes up and knocks it down. There's going to be a free kick. No, play on's the call. Thought for a moment Pendlebury might get one. Judd dispossessed, taken by Cloak. Kicks inside the forward 50. Wade in front. Wonderful balance shown by Maxwell. Then he took too long for Bowler. Going at number 5. How will it bounce? It's still alive football. Hasn't been touched. Getting back Shaw. Escorts it across the line. And the Blues lead it.
Great to see Favola backing up his words there with that approach and tackle on the ball. Then that's a great example to be setting to the other players in the early part of this quarter.
Shaw quickly inbounding the ball. Finishes up with Thomas. Up towards Reece Shaw, trapped it to his own advantage, back to the run of Thomas, goes down towards half-forward, brilliant. Reed's got it, wheels around on the left foot, where will he go? Long down towards full forward, needs a kind bounce, Davis, gets it and goes in, kicks the goal.
Keeps his record going, Leon Davis, a goal in each of the 12 matches he's played this year.
He's been quiet. There was a real query on him coming into this game. He was sore last Monday. It's an ankle injury, but he's done well to get himself up for this game.
Just 7 kicks, but an important goal. Bryan got over the top of Cloak on that occasion, and then Cloak toe pokes it forward. Scotland tapping forward. Lockyer with him. They've both been good players. Back to Judd. What sort of an influence can the champion have on the last quarter? Russell got it to Murphy, who's been outstanding. That kick to Fisher, dropped the footy, got it back to Waite. Waite who kicked a goal in that term, lace out to Fev. Well, he was missing these, Tim, in the first half, but I reckon his confidence is back, don't you?
Yeah, sky high. That was a really good play there by Fisher. Met the ball really hard, kept the ball alive. and Waite just keeping his head, and a beautiful low spearing pass to Fev.
He's kicked 4-5. He's had 11 shots for goal today. Can he put them back in front? It's not going to be a goal. It was a careful kick. So 4 goals, 6 from Favola. It's one of the big stories, if not the story of the match so far.
That range is really troubling him, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, he's lost his confidence and his ability to be able to kick those long goals.
He's never kicked more than 6 behinds in his career. Not the sort of records you want to repeat today.
Ooh.
On the big stage. Now off the ball. Cloak is down. Didn't see what happened. Maxwell's got the football. Goes to Lockyer. Hand passes to Johnson. The centering kick. They'll compete about 15 metres out. The big leap from Didak. Off hands and across the line. Cloak's on his feet. Any idea what happened, Tim?
Well, look, I didn't see the incident, but I saw the player closest to him, and it was Ben Johnson.
Carrazzo's got it.
What does that mean, Dennis?
Johnson was closest to him. Gibbs has got the football. Uncanny resemblance to our producer, Glenn Postel. Cloak back in the action. Jamison. Now an opportunity for Russell. Bentic kicks inside the forward 50. Through the hands of Favola. He got in front, but the ball went to the back. Maxwell under pressure. Reece Shaw. Judd shrugs one tackle. Wrong foot's Clark. Goes short. Touch of brilliance. Well, you can't coach that. Simply put it down to Chris Judd's parents.
Just watch the bottom left of the screen here.
5 metres, please. Thank you.
That was a bump there by Ben Johnson.
Long way from the ball.
It was a long way from the ball, but there was no head contact there. It just seems that it might have actually got him under the rib cage and winded him.
Was it a Stevie Baker? Who knows with that tribunal? Simpson comes in, and this one misses to the right-hand side. Favola moments ago putting it left. And the margin is 4 points. Carlton with the ascendancy. 3 points now this afternoon for Simpson. That's all that he's kicked. He's still goalless.
Nathan's ball!
It was Judd that got...
Nathan's ball! Nathan's ball! Nathan!
There's an incident off the
Nathan's
field. It
ball!
was Judd that was actually standing next to Nathan Brown, so he must have done something there that the umpire spotted. It was Judd that got them over the line last week, Bruce, with a massive last quarter. Can he do it again?
His play a moment ago was terrific. Cloak, nearly. Had a couple of little grabs at it. O'Halpin back to Fisher. Bentic. Not a great kick, Thomas.
So I reckon Al Halpin's dicing with death if he's just expecting one of the other Carlton players to spoil Cloak. He's got to go with him in a contest like that. He can't expect someone else to actually clear the ball or spoil the ball for him.
Thomas goes to the top of the goal square. Fisher.
In danger here. Here. No, nearly kicked it. Yeah, touch him, mate. I know, he doesn't have to touch him. It's just dangerous.
So Fisher against Didak. Didak thinking so quickly again there. Take a really good umpire to think as quickly as Didak.
That's right.
Murphy in a contest. Carrazzo back to Judd. He's finding a bit of space, the champ. Running hard. Kick a wobbly one. Inside 50. Maxwell leading. Waite brought him down. Armfield off the outside. Favola. Is it a free? Favola's kicked the most remarkable goal. Fev, you little beauty.
Dennis, that's like at training when the coach used to pair you off and say, OK, off you go, you two, just compete against each other. It's just a beautiful one-on-one contest.
What's that synchronised kicking?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Carlton getting on top in the contested possessions in this quarter too.
Judd's been big in the last 5 minutes.
Magnificent.
Carlton by 2 points then on the way down. Josh Fraser only as far as Bentic. Shrugs one tackle. Fraser was waiting for him and nabbed him on the way out. Another ball up. And the goals of the season from Fev. He's got 5. 5-6. It's a Franklin-like return. Knocked down by Fraser once more. Judd in the thick of the action. Cloak needed a bit more on that one. O'Brien steals it away. Just sets it up towards the 50. Juggled attempt at the mark down there by Russell. in the opposite direction. Swan. Carranzo goes after it. Davis has got it. Judd's got him. Davis slips a hand pass away to Swan. Lockyer is clear. Runs to the 50. Despairing lunge by Simpson affected the kick. Well, Thomas flew very early. Socket off the ground by O'Halpin. And it's out of bounds. I'm not sure he touched anyone on the way up or down, Thomas. It was just a jump for jumping's sake.
Jumping with excitement.
Like we are in the box right now. This has been some sort of a match. Swan going through and putting Collingwood right back where they want to be. 22 disposals, a couple of goals from Swan. So good in the stoppages and clearances. Thomas taking a breather. What a wonderful match we're seeing. This is a blockbuster. Cloak, Betts, Judd in every play it seems at the moment. And then Betts getting it forward only a little way. Fraser, good tackle. Well done, Betts. Back to Waite.
Waite did nicely. Slips it away to Judd. Under pressure. May have been touched off the boot. No. Mark is played. It went precariously close to the boot. And Favola will line up at number 6, and Judd is lifting like the champion he is.
And if you want to know why he's getting the ball now, Reece Shaw's actually gone off him. He's gone to Murphy. Now, this is just an example of a very deep pool of midfield players. You've got to shut down the number 1. They believed, or Mick Malthouse did at three-quarter time, because Murphy had to stop. I just wonder whether or not Reece Shaw will go back to the dangerous Judd now.
For Carlton to regain the lead. And he gets it. He started the day 11 behind Franklin. He's closing in.
So Carlton just in front in the centre clearances and 3-0 in the last quarter.
Reece Shaw's gone back to Judd now.
Well, you and Mickey Malthouse are in sync, Tim. So the changes of lead in this last quarter. It's pulsating stuff. Cruiser timed at best. Murphy high. Gee, no. Okay. Hard to get a free kick now.
Cross there. Cross there. Thanks, Scott.
So the first contact was at low, and then Murphy milked it, and the umpire in a good spot.
Play on!
Cruiser, man-on-man stuff. Murphy paddles it forward. O'Brien was onto him. Didak. Heard the umpire, play it on. Burns does just that. Runs hard, kicks to Wellingham. Got him. Good kick. Gibbs a bit lucky there. The Wellingham wasn't be able to run on because Gibbs just went to ground. There's Cloak up in front of him. Wellingham, who hasn't played in a losing team, kicks to the hot spot. Cloak almost. Rode by Davis. Left foot. Missing. We talked about the forward line before the start of the match, just how important will the forward line of Medhurst and Davis and Didak and Thomas be in the concluding 15 minutes?
Well, they're hard to shut down for 120 minutes of football. They're going to come into their own at some stage. You've just got to apply enough pressure when they get into that goal-scoring range. You've got to apply that pressure. We saw Leon Davis then. It was just the extra pressure from Carlton that stopped the kick.
Stevens to himself, and he drives it towards our broadcast side. Head down, Heath Shaw taken down. The umpire will ball it up. So with 7 minutes to go in the third term, we had a total of 14 goals. Now we've got 22 and still an age to play. And I think we said at the time, as predictable as my haircut, this game would open up in the run home. Over the top, Cruiser knocks it down. And a free kick is going to Judd off the ball against Reece Shaw. My word, he's playing a last turn. He goes across the ground. Ambitious kick, but fortune favours the ball as the ball goes inside the forward 50 from Russell, and the mark is taken down there by Wiggins, 40 metres out directly in front.
You know, I reckon having Chris Judd in the side, apart from his individual brilliance, it just gives the Carlton players so much confidence, doesn't it? At a critical stage of the game, there's a free kick, clearly a free kick, but you just see the Carlton players rising to the occasion. I mean, he's more than just a leader.
Brendan, just hold out for us so we keep Chris out.
So Wiggins. No, it can be an inspiration. It's proving that way now. Wiggins from 53. Not a bad looking kick. Now it's sliding towards the right, off hands and out of bounds. Good result for Carlton. stays locked in. They lead by a point. Over 11 minutes to go. Murphy, 33 last week, his career high. He got 27 at the moment. And Swan has been busy too. Tracking that ball through. Stevens a half chance. Maxwell stood in his path. Now Wiggins much closer to goal. Snaps and gets it. Margin 7 points.
Well, he actually took a very courageous mark a moment ago too and wasn't able to finish it off. That's really poor play there by Maxwell, who should have been able to snaffle that ball. But great play by Wiggins to go back in there and win the ball and then screw it around the outside. There he is, just snatching it away from Maxwell, and he's playing inspired football at the moment.
What a terrific effort by Wiggins. And to give Carlton not breathing space, but more than a goal lead. How long can Judd keep going in the centre here? Betts. Maxwell, Judd tackling. Back to Nathan Brown, belting it inside 50. Cloak did well, got rid of his man. Back to Didac, back to Swan, and then Swan's left foot to Pendlebury. Betts created a contest. Davis has got pretty busy in this last quarter, hooking back. It won't be a goal, but Medhurst kicks his fourth.
Free kick. Two actions there, the umpire's indicating a push.
Gee whiz. Oh, wow, big call. Now Stevens hasn't looked up, but he was going to the interchange. Betts good mark. Gee, Betts has got busy too, hasn't he?
This is some of the gutsiest umpiring I think I've ever seen.
Here's a free kick again. There's the push from Medhurst in the side, I would have thought.
Where was the ball? How close, Tim?
I reckon it was in the 5-metre range, Dennis, without running a tape over it.
Hampson's got it. So Hampson told to play on. The Queenslander drives it down towards half forward. Almost a clever mark down there to Bryan. Oh, slapped it the wrong way. Simpson's got it. Can he work it back? Down goes Fev. Fev reeks it back in somehow and kicks another one. Two of the most amazing goals in this term to Brendan Favola.
Two different guys he's done it to, too. Nathan Brown and now Harry again. Harry's going to have nightmares about this bloke, isn't he?
There's a free kick again. I mean, that is a doubtful free kick, OK? I thought Harry was away here, but he just wasn't able to take the ball cleanly with him. And Fev stayed in the contest. Watch this reaction here from the coach. He's a young coach, Brett Ratton. He rides every bump, every handball, and every kick.
Well, it's all about Fev. What a remarkable performance he's put on today. Collingwood hate that decision about Medhurst. It looked a big call. Well, Collingwood have got some work to do. Judd keeps getting his hands on it. Betts was held up. Well done, Eddie Betts. Terrific effort, though, by Collingwood through Brown. And then Cruiser getting involved. Favola, not quite off the ground. Simpson getting there. Maxwell just rushing it over.
Well, they've got a real chance now, Collingwood. Judd has just come off the ground for a rest. Bentic's come on. He's free at the moment. He's running up into the midfield. We see a 50-metre penalty being awarded to Brown again at centre-half back.
That's it, yep, all clear.
So, Brown's kick. Collingwood, I reckon, are one goal away here from being out of it. It's unbelievable I'm saying that. Carazzo goes back. They won a close one last week, the Blues. They've been good in last quarters. Grigg, he's got those injured ribs, under pressure. Gets it outside the danger zone. And Scotland runs it over the line.
It's amazing. Now it goes on the forward line for Carlton. It's like watching a rerun of The Illusionist. I mean, you just hold your breath, don't you, with Fev? Hasn't he turned it around? A lot of shots from long range have missed today, but he's been special in this final term. Pendlebury wins a hard ball. Swan pushed off the kick, taken by Gibbs. no margin to work with. That was a precise kick. Russell a couple of metres in from the line. Gibbs keeping his head, surrounded by pandemonium. The kick around the outer side towards the wing. Good mark in front, not paid. Cloak came to ground almost with a football.
Didn't drag it in.
So I don't know how injured Leon Davis is, Dennis, but I think they've got to do with him what Carlton have done with Eddie Betts in the early part of this last quarter, and that's just pushing him up around the ball, particularly at the stoppages.
Judd 7 possessions in this term. Brian knocks it down from the hands of Pendlebury to Burns. High ball, courage required. Everyone put in there. It spoils, though. It comes down towards Thomas. He kicks inside the forward 50. Certainly spoilt now for Carlton as the ball comes from Cloak to O'Brien. Spots a man in the square. And this time, no interference involved. Medhurst is marked directly in front, 5 metres out.
That was a great interchange there by Collingwood because O'Brien just came on the ground. He was a spare player, as we see Meadows just pop one through.
He's got 4.
Up pretty high at different stages of the game, but he's got a good pair of hands. He's more than just a one-trick pony as we look at Chris Judd on the bench.
So Judd, who's had this huge influence in the last quarter, getting ready for one last assault. Medhurst's 4th goal bring Collingwood very much back into the frame. Cloak went early. Fraser won the tap. O'Brien, who's good play a moment ago. Terrific tackle, though, on Fraser. Cloak's handball, OK. Russell to Grigg. I bet you the coach will single him out at the end of the match if they win. Grigg kicks towards full forward. Favola, Waite. Back with Waite. Still with Waite. Can steady and goal now. And Favola's creating mayhem down there because every time they go there, they want to wrestle him and he's creating space.
Well, that was a great tackle in the centre of the ground there by Wiggins. He's played inspired last quarter of football too. So it hasn't just been about their ability to control the ball. They've been doing the hard stuff as well, Carlton. And here's Favola, the battle against Harry O'Brien. And then it was the secondary forward there, Waite. And Brown just should have stuck to his hips. He'll be showing that during the week. Don't follow the ball, son.
So the margin 14 points. Eddie Maguire knows it's slipping away, but he'd be buoyed by the fact that Collingwood have shown a lot of fight all season long. This is not beyond them. But again, as we said before about that kick going forward for Collingwood, no margin for error. One down by Cloak. Judd's over the football, immediately attracts a crowd. They'll do it again. So Judd, despite all the problems, 23 possessions now. Reshaw with him. They look on as Maxwell doesn't quite middle it. O'Brien helps it on its way. Getting back is Simpson. Scotland, one more goal could seal it for the Blues. And look at the men they've got free. Bentic is running hard up ahead. Waite bypasses him. Bentic could still get the crumb, no. Knocked forward by Wakelin eventually. That man Bentic bobs up. Stevens in trouble. Goes looking for Bentic, holding the ball to call against Stevens. Collingwood wasting no time. Johnson's kick up towards the wing, and the ball runs out at the interchange gates.
Well, Carlton, if they win this today, go into the 8. They haven't been in the 8 in the second half of a season since 2001. It's been a long, long time. Judd, well done. Cloak, Bentic ridden down.
That was a good tackle, actually. The tackle was rolled there by Lockyer. What about Judd? He's come back onto the ground. Both times he's got hold of the ball, but Reshaw's been right on him. He's been able to actually lock him up. This is important stoppage for Collingwood.
Still enough time for the Maggies. Cloak improvising. It's been one of those games. Bentic finding some space to Gibbs, one of the guys that Tim talked about at three-quarter time. Carazzo to a bit of space. Waite's been important with a couple of goals. Bentic getting involved. Back to Carazzo. Important kick. Decides just to go long and hope. Fev not getting into it that time. And Shaw has been so quiet. Heath Shaw, believe it or not, just a 5th disposal. And here's the big H. He's had a day he's going to remember for a long time. Fev chasing hard. O'Brien's kick not all that good.
Rollingham in trouble, taken down by Russell. Held to him, says the umpire. The veteran, Hayden Kennedy.
Had the right idea then, Harry O'Brien, to cut up the centre and try and hit the target, but the kick wasn't effective.
Mick Malthouse having a big day. We're talking about games. Well, Hayden Kennedy, 424 for him.
Every stoppage since he came back on the ground, Chris Judd, he's actually been the first player to win the ball, but Reece Shaw's been able to lock him up. He'll get a handball out soon.
One down by Fraser, but to the wrong man. Stolen away by Stevens inside the forward 50. Leading in the race towards the boundary. Heath Shaw wants the boundary. Now the umpires have been brave all day long. Perhaps it wasn't deliberate.
No, he's on the wrong side then. It was deliberate, but the umpire didn't really see it clearly enough to give a decision.
Boundary throw in. Over the top. Fraser once more. Judd crashes the pack. Lost it though. Taken by Maxwell.
Disputed footy. Gibbs starting to have that influence. Lovely kick to Murphy. One number one draft pick to another.
Hold it.
What's he going to do here, Murphy? Called to play on. Decides to pop it up. Can Fisher take a mark or Betts? Belted away by Clark. O'Brien. Judd. Still with Judd. Handball out. Bentic. He's been good in the last 5 minutes. To Stevens. He's a good kick, Stevens. They're home. The Blues are going to have one of the biggest wins in many a year. Look at that celebration.
Bruce, I know we've been talking about this all afternoon, but it's their depth of talent right across the ground. Here's Gibbs. Each time the ball has gone to a one-on-one type contest, it had the capacity to actually win that one-on-one contest. There's Judd, squirts one out. Bentic's a good play, gives it over to Stevens, who's a good player. He's been pretty quiet today, but they've just got that level of...
Well, it would seem the Blues have got the Magpies number this season. Hard to tell from those expressions whether they're in front or behind. Keep a lid on it, says the Prez. That's back in the middle. Backhanded down by Cloak. Judd again. Got a hand pass intended for Murphy. Stolen away by O'Brien almost. Reece Shaw was led. Advantage is paid. Swan gallops down towards the 50. Runs to 45 and shoots. And what's he done? It hit the post. Ricocheted off the post and hit the goal umpire.
I reckon it hit the actual inside of the post, not the outside of the post, not down the guts of the post.
The fat bit.
It actually just faded to the fat bit. Just watch this. Yep, just touching, just kissing the padding.
It's a good kick. It was coming back. Well, Gibbs having a big last quarter. This is interesting. How do Carlton play the next 4 minutes, Tim? I mean, they're sitting on what should be a match-winning lead. Do they play defensively like that?
No.
Or do they keep trying to score goals? Because scoring goals has been good for them. Medhurst has kicked 4. He's normally a very, very clever player. Good kick inside, but Jamison's closing speed, terrific. Cloak rode it okay, gets it back, and then Judd, who's been in so much of this last quarter.
He's been unbelievable in this last quarter, Chris Judd. He's now had 25 touches. He's touched the ball 7 times since he came back on the ground.
Back to Swan. Swan's been terrific to O'Brien.
O'Brien in desperate trouble. Tackled by Russell. Free kick to the Blues. They'll bring it back. So just over 3 minutes to go. Clock is stopped. Russell is cramped up. Nothing suspicious there. O'Brien knew the footy was coming. And somebody sang, look out. Russell just pops it to the wing. Murphy have to be in contention as BOG, I'd suggest. Coming up for his 30th possession. Play-on's the call. Simpson presents.
Come on, Carlton, you've got him on the ropes. Just keep going.
I think this is okay now. You're a hard taskmaster. As they work it around. Thornton got it from Russell. 19 points. Just over 2.5 minutes. Thornton to the wing. In front, Cruiser. Going after it, Thomas. Thomas a little chip. Wellingham hasn't had the best of days. Cloak. Still time if he kicks this. Runs to 50. They need a goal. Didak from behind. Off hands. Miners score.
He had Medhurst short, Cloak, there, didn't he? And I think he thought... will I or won't I? And in the end,
he didn't really have a ping at the goals either. No. He actually kicked to the top of the square. He was within range, but it's been a long afternoon for him. He's done a mountain of work right up and down the ground. He might be getting a little bit tired.
And this makes North Melbourne a bit nervous, I reckon. St Kilda, Carlton in the 8.
Hey, there's no reason why Carlton can't continue to improve throughout the course of this season. I think we've already seen that since the start of the season, how much they've improved. But this group, given how many early draft picks they have in their team, is capable of continuing to improve right up until the finals.
They play the Bombers and the Tigers in the next fortnight, Carlton. And the last 2 wins for them, Tim, you think about that comeback against Port Adelaide last Sunday night, and also today. We started the day with Sticks.
He'd be loving it.
Arguably the greatest captain the Blues have ever had, and they've had some good ones. They've got a good one right now. They've had Big Nick, and they've had Sticks, and they've got Juddy. Armfield's been impressive. Pushing forward. Swan's been terrific.
Here's Johnson running it out of defence. Close to the boundary, going back Fisher. Interesting, Michael Malthouse put the topic of BFS, blockbuster fatigue syndrome, on the agenda last week. Maybe his players believed it.
Still me, mate.
Carazzo. Now Gibbs. Just putting the exclamation mark on this victory. Jamieson told to play on. Steps Cloak nicely. Jamieson back in the side, relishing the situation. The attendance over 80,000 today. Bentic, a hand pass. Scotland from 25 metres. How sweet that is. The former Magpie. The icing on a cake that they will relish this week. Emotions spilling over at the G.
He's been really good since half-time. This is Jamieson just taking the game on. We wanted them to do this, Carlton, right up until the final siren. They've got the capacity to do this. They've got the talent out there on the field. Good play by Bentic just to protect the ball in the mark. And that is, according to Heath Scotland, a beautiful finish.
Played in 2 grand finals for the Magpies. So the former Pie putting some cream on a beautiful cake, as Dennis said, and for Michael Malthouse, 0-2 against the Blues this year. It's been a memorable afternoon at the G.
Eddie Betts has been good too in this last quarter coming out of the centre.
Scotland, still Scotland. It's his own footy at the moment. One last one for Fev. Oh, this would be something. He kicked 7 today. He kicked 7 in round 4 against Collingwood.
That's great play there by Heath Scotland. That was a great play there by Heath Scotland, though, the way that he actually won the ball, ran through a couple of tackles. He hasn't liked this distance all afternoon. Well, he's tired. He's been going all day. It's a tough, tough kick.
Kicked a goal after the final siren last week. This would equal his career best of 8 and give him 50 for the season. It's looking good. It's going and going. He's equalled his career best. It's been all about Fev. Carlton by 5 goals over the arch enemy. 17-17 to 12-17.